Really? Can't go on for 5 seconds before the string goes bad. Let me fix my hair right quick. Alright, that's much better. Okay. So, sorry about that droning background noise there. I believe that was the Republican talking points person. Never in my life just smelt demon on people so badly as these Republican talking points people on CNN. In a lot of ways, they're worse than some of the fuckers on, not all of them, but worse than some of the fuckers on Fox News. Some of the fuckers on Fox News. That blonde guy who looks like a cartoon stork. He's like a notch worse than them. He's like a notch worse than Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson. He's like all of their evil with half the brains. I don't know if that's better or worse. It's like on the one hand, I don't think he can do as much damage. And generally speaking, I don't think any actual like men's men would see that motherfucker and think he was anything but a twit. But on the other hand, stupidity is kind of magnetic. And I just might have higher standards than I'm thinking other people have. Obviously, I definitely transposed far too high of a standard on Southern people in general when it came to Donald Trump. But then the particular area where all those Trump Pence signs were before the flood. Now, you had a couple here and there out here in the country. That's not fucking surprising. Surprisingly few and far between, as I had been saying. You'd never see anyone in a Make America Great Again hat. Never out here. This is one of the supposed KKK havens of the world, or of the country, or whatever. No, no MAGA hats. But over there, on the other side of Baton Rouge, okay, this is supposed to be a good sketchbook, so let me flip to the back and just draw a rough little map. Okay. You got Louisiana. Okay. Squigglies. There's Louisiana. Just draw an L and then draw squigglies, and there's Louisiana. Look. Okay. This is the Mississippi River. It come down like here. And you have New Orleans over here. You got a lake right here, and you got Baton Rouge. Okay. Now, I live up here. On the other side of Baton Rouge, in this area between the interstate that goes north of the lake and where I-10 splits off from Texas You know, over here in Mississippi. This is the big busy Shoppersville area. Okay. That's on the other side of downtown. But you know, you got the river on one side, so there's only like that way when you go on the other side of downtown. Which is that way. Or yeah. Down towards between the lake and the river. So you go over here and you go into another town on the other side of the river on the west bank. Which is nothing like the West Bank in New Orleans. Well, I guess it's a little like but you don't have that accent. How you doing, darling? It's like more it's more Brooklyn Jew than Brooklyn Jew. It's hard to explain. Anyways, so these people over there in this particular area are a special bunch who had pissed me off in a weird way for a long time. And like I said, all them fucking, I mean, there was a lot of them. You go down Sherwood Forest and that whole fucking area over there. Trump Pence sign land before the flood. But they have been for a long time, and this happens in a lot of cities in America. I'm sure this happens in a lot of places in general. For a long time, been one of those separation school districts where the white people have basically had enough of integration and decide we want our nice suburb to not have to fund the other place. It's about money. It's not about keeping the black people from getting bussed here. Yeah. You see, in the greater scheme of things, if it wasn't for people like that, those black people that get bussed there wouldn't form the cliquish, loud, obnoxious groups that makes them twitch. There wouldn't be a lot of problems if people would just get their heads out of their asses. Have the courage to be the dignified person. Have the courage to act with honor and to live with honor. And trust that righteousness is the path that will guide other cultures to learning manners. This has been the way that I've taught for ever. Yeah, ever. I just find it very ironic that the people who call themselves Christians are segregationists. It's almost as though there's this book where this guy, supposedly a guy, mostly a guy. Could have been some of that shit was said by a lady, but we don't know. Either way, to say that it was said by the Christ is accurate. and correct me if I'm wrong, but what the Christ said was love your neighbor, even your enemy. Pray for those that hate you. You know, like a whole step above having to talk to somebody who's still busy hating other people. You know, it's one thing to get to the point where you let go of hate of other people. That's just basic. Then you move on to actually praying for those people that you let go of your hatred of. And this is what old man Yama means when he says, I have neither the time or the patience to teach small children how to breathe. Aw. I don't know what character on Bleach is more my spirit animal. It's like I'm a cross between Ichigo, Yamamoto, and Kenpachi. Kenpachi has funny little traditions when it comes to fighting. So do I. Like counting to 18. You know? Whenever you fight somebody smaller than you one-on-one, you let them hit you 18 times. That makes it fair. Kinda. I'm sorry, I got mixed feelings about the last guy because he just jumped on my back without warning. I just counted. He actually got my lip to get damaged a little bit on my teeth. He didn't actually bust my lip. He just managed to get it to cut itself. I thought about like teaching him how to punch later, but he never let it go. He just couldn't figure out his place in the world. Anyways. Smocking time. Yes, everybody. Smocking. You know what it's like to be in an agitated state. I know what it's like to not know whether a basic, easy to spell word has a C in front of the K. Smoke, for instance. Doesn't have a C. Coffee. Coffee has a C. Yes. Yes. One of my Christmas presents was a bell to ring for coffee. And it wasn't from the mother to torment the teenager who actually makes the coffee for me. No. It was from the teenager. I'm just trying to think of how much I hated getting my mom coffee in the morning. But then again, she never went out of her way to express gratitude or sympathy. Get a few glasses of white Zinfandel in her, she'll tell you how much she loves her children. You know, I'm right here. Who are you talking to? Yes. Anyways. I was missing my mama today. Christmas Day. Well, yesterday now. Because it is almost 2 a.m. here in central Louisiana. Where most of the people who voted for Trump know how to spell the word smoking. There are people who basically qualified as technically illiterate. Who can't actually write much with their hands. And they probably know. There's no C in smoke. Just saying. But the guy supposedly in charge of the country right now, not so much. Now, it's possible that he's just copy and pasting his fucking comments from some employee of the Russian troll factory or similar type arrangement, more direct, more up the ladder, you know. Possible, not necessary. See, the thing is, it's supposed to be assumed that it's okay that Trump is illiterate because all the troll followers on Twitter and all the people in the comments on YouTube and shit They just don't know how to speak proper English because they're rednecks. When in fact, any redneck who's going to go so far as to make a fucking Google account such that it takes to make a comment here on YouTube, chances are they know how to use fucking spelling and grammar and punctuation. How's it going, Mr. Conway? How's it going, Lacey? Thought he was different. You see what he said to a child? No. Who, Trump? Oh. Marginal. It's in the scroll. A 7-year-old told a 7-year-old boy that believing in Santa at 7 is marginal. That's the CGTN headline. I'm sure other of my subscriptions have it posted, but now YouTube decide what of your subscriptions you actually get. Man struck and killed by an SUV in Northeast Harris County on fucking Christmas. Wall shut down. Wall shut down. Border claims. 8-year-old Guatemalan boy falls ill and dies in U.S. custody. Another one. We had 2 kids die. 2 kids now. One. That's an anomaly. 2 in the same fucking year. That's negligence. Really? The Atlantic Santa is a psychedelic mushroom? I'll be sure to watch that just long enough to unsubscribe from whoever the fuck you are. I just don't even care anymore. Okay. The Trump video is worse when you watch it. Alright, let me just search for a clip. Really? Some random fucking channel has this shit monetized? What is this? Whoever you are, fuck you. Oh yeah, everybody's got it up. I was trying to find one of the lesser clips here. There we go, AFP.
Still a believer in Santa? Because it's 7 is market, right? You just enjoy yourself. Where are you from, Cole?
Not appalling, but it's not how a parent's supposed to act in public. But anyways, I got mixed feelings about the whole Santa Claus thing to begin with. That sounded like he was reacting to something that the kid said. Oh well. I still think it's funny that, let's see, most of those channels that I was just seeing on my search results just now, I'm subscribed to. The only one that showed up in my subscriptions just now, when I scroll through subscription updates, the only one that showed up was CGTN. Very nice. I'm sure if I had RT as a subscription, it would have showed up. Anyways. Smoking time. I didn't get a smoking jacket for Christmas, but I did get a smoking shirt. Whatever you do, don't get pulled over if you're wearing this shirt after you left the house. Anyways. So, there is apparently a new undisclosed Russian contact that Cohen has testified about. And there is another series of charges against Cohen that allegedly could put him away for a much longer time. Let's see here. Did MSNBC actually upload anything? Oh, a 3-month recommended story. 3-month-old story about parents being surprised by their daughter's suicide. Merry Christmas. Small YouTuber had his Legos stolen or destroyed from 2 months ago. Snake slithers into police station and jumps at man. Now that's kind of entertaining. I'm just looking at the algorithm. The way it's programmed. How are these recommendations coming up? Supposedly, the reason why people who aren't shills, basically, the reason why normal American citizen YouTubers have like a 24-hour window of views, and then they don't get any views on those videos anymore, basically, has something to do with the way the algorithm is intentionally programmed. That's the way it's supposed to work. And there's a 5-year-old video that's actually relevant. Bring It Down to Rappingville. It's a Saturday Night Live channel from 5 years ago. Christmas video. Looks like there's Jimmy Fallon on there. And supposedly it only has 2.8 million views. Scotty Kilmer has posted a video called 5 Life Hacks That Will Keep Your Car Running Forever. That's probably worth watching. I'm definitely gonna watch that. Baby bison takes on a wolf and wins from 2 years ago. National Geographic Channel. 5.1 million views. That seems like an accurate view count. National Geographic. Weren't those the people that said that the CIA created the Taliban? Yeah. Weren't those the people that said that there's no way Sinai was actually Sinai? Yeah. They said that the black top of the mountain was caused by anything but what the Bible people said, because they were crazy, and then just didn't show any of their evidence. After about 40 minutes of berating biblical truth, then they show this one traveling kinda con artist-ish guy as if he's the only person with an opinion on the other side. And they don't even show all of his evidence. But yeah, the whole Mujahideen, the CIA, and the updated documentary after 9/11. Mentioning nothing about the CIA not being involved from the moment that the fucking Taliban, that the Soviets left. Provisional government was established, and the Taliban came back with Soviet tanks, because they made a fucking deal. But anyways, need to get my smoking jacket on, or no, my smocking jacket. I have a bathrobe. That's pretty much my smoking jacket. It's my smoking robe. That's what it smells like. I think this investigation, like as unlikely as it seems, just because we've all been so shell shocked by 9/11 conspiracy theorists, it seems really unlikely. It seems borderline psychotic just to consider, are they actually investigating it? Is Mueller really taking this seriously and revisiting 9/11 because any good investigator fucking would at this point? Did he not notice the data that led me to it? Did they block my email? I mean, fuck. I send an email and then I don't get any emails for 10 days. I've started, after 10 days, well, I'm looking around for my cell phone. There it is. After 10 days, I started getting the little Apple updates that everybody gets all the time when they have an iPhone, right? But for 10 days, I got nothing. I've sent a couple of emails and expected replies of some sort, even like a automated do not reply kind of reply. Haven't gotten those. That's interesting. Now, as far as data collection to make a determination on the timing of everything, I basically have nothing but corrupted samples because all of this stuff also happened after the election. So if there was a bunch of stuff that they were waiting for until after the election because they didn't want to do it, because they didn't want to influence the election, that could be a reason why these things happened. But there was a couple of weeks there where not really much was happening. Then I sent the email and it's been boom, 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 boom. And all these fucking indictments are being filed in a way that can put pressure in all the right places based on my suggestions. So, the only real question to me is, does he have the data? Oh, fucking air is dry as shit in here. Just took a shower. Should not be having itchy problems. Tap the weave down. Tap the weave down. Okay. So it's basically this simple. The determining data of whether or not this should be further investigated. Okay. The noticeable thing, that something's wrong with this picture kind of thing. That moment should have happened. When analyzing the extent of Russian propaganda that exists, that has existed, that affected the 2016 campaign. Okay? Because you can't go into Pizzagate and Alex Jones and all these other conspiracies without eventually coming across 9/11 conspiracy and making a comparison of the flip and trying to figure out why the flip from rallying liberals to rallying Nazis, basically. Why did Alex Jones do that? And in this investigation, they would come across an omission. Okay? When you're investigating people in general, you're keeping an eye out to make sure they all have the same consistent story, but you're also making sure that that story is consistent with the facts. Because if all of them are telling, say, the same lie, then you have a conspiracy, don't you? Right? Just as a general rule. Now, if, say, and I've done this analogy before with fucking Tony and Mike and whatever the fuck we were talking about. But if a crime needed more than one person to be pulled off, okay, and your two main suspects, or two of the people that had been interviewed and then written off, they couldn't be involved because they're not really associated. And all the people that know them, all of these people say that they don't know each other. They're not friends. And for that reason, they weren't suspects. Because they weren't friends. They would have had to been friends to be suspects. Right? The one guy was kind of a suspect, but the other guy wasn't a suspect because they weren't friends. But if you find out that they're friends, good friends, great friends, been friends since the late 60s, been in business together since 1972, suddenly you start wondering why these other fucking people are lying. Why would all these people that work for this guy, with this guy, make money because of this guy in some way? Or just kind of generally seem to play on the same team as this guy, you know? They all lied about his friendship with this other guy, while willing to say, this other guy, he's kind of shady. He's probably up to no good. He's probably involved. But our friend, the guy who talks the same shit we do, the guy who's on our team, they're not friends. They're not friends. Oh, but there's videotape of both of them calling each other friends. There's a long-established, recorded business relationship. They're good friends. Great friends. They're such great friends, they have frosted flakes together. Never mind. It's like an indirect Tony the Tiger joke. I didn't even find it funny. Okay. And I'm easy. I'm easy. But how do you get around that? How do you say these Russian conspiracy propagandists and this Russian-American plant, Trump, they've all been promoting the idea that our government is basically no fucking good. The entire government. None of them have half a fucking idea of how to make it better. They just want to chew it up and spit it out. Oh, you see what I did there? See what I did there? Anyway, get a little too much mustache there. Holy crap! Let me just trim it right now. Anyways, I think. Therefore, I fart. No, I think the rate of development, the fact that they're not waiting until the new Democratic Congress actually comes in, the way they're making new filings on Christmas Eve. This is an urgent thing. This is not, oh, the election's over. Let's go ahead and, do these mundane things about a porn star being paid and like Hillary Clinton's emails. There's no sense of urgency with that. When they start realizing that all of Russian propaganda has been geared around not only making people think our government was behind 9/11, but imagine if all those guys, their favorite thing to gossip about was how this other guy, who they won't admit is friends with their boss, how this other guy secretly set fire to his own fucking shop or whatever, to collect the insurance money. Typical shit, right? Their favorite thing to gossip about. That would seem very legit if they didn't know his boss and them were friends. But if they were sitting there gossiping about that all the time, without mentioning their friendship, while knowing about their friendship because it's on record, because it's obvious, that would directly indicate that they had something to fucking hide. And that the reason why these people had this gossip habit to begin with was to point away from that fact. So then you have this group of loud liars saying, hey, look over here, look over here, look over here. Don't look this way at these people that we know are friends. They're not friends. All these other people did it. These guys aren't even friends, so our boss couldn't have done it. And then suddenly it becomes clear why you have that childhood training in Pakistan. Trump. Then suddenly it becomes clear why the Al Qaeda informant goes to work for Trump Tower. Then suddenly it becomes clear why Trump built 2 towers starting in 1998, late 1998 and in 99. 2 towers. 2 towers right as Putin took power. As the cause of what would become known as the SNL crisis was in full effect. The SNL crisis didn't affect a whole lot of, like it had Countrywide go under down here. I remember that. But I mean, like I said, my mom was in real estate. I was paying attention to this shit at the time. The big problem was the office vacancy in New York City, and I remember struggling to understand how most of the country could be having so little problems, but New York City could be causing such a fiscal problem because of just how much fucking real estate and how much money per square foot we're talking about when you're talking about New York real estate. It's like, can people get killed over diamonds? Can people get killed over cocaine? Can people get killed over gold and slaves and really valuable things that are more valuable, say, in one part of the world than the rest of the world? And it's more likely that in that part of the world people get killed for it and people do shady shit to advance themselves with it. Well, that's New York real estate for you. The FBI ought to fucking know that. One of them towers goes up across from the UN. Trump ain't no fan of the UN or the World Trade Organization. Never has been. Because, what Russian propagandist is. His heart belongs to them. And they have no regard for human life, let alone basic moral scruples. And if you want to know what I mean by they have no regard for human life, go on one of these Ukrainian YouTube channels and go see the videos that the Russians took of themselves firing mortars or with their drunk buddy in a tank, etc., etc. See the way they talk. The way they curse out these people that they're killing, invading their land, is worse than the way people have been reprimanded in the United States military for talking about terrorists on the fucking radio. We're talking about people who, like Americans will sit there and, yeah, I got that fucking scumbag and shit like that, talking about actual scumbags. Okay? These Russians are sitting there talking worse about fucking Ukrainians trying to defend their own country. That says something to me. I don't know about you, but that says a lot to me about what's going on all the way from the top. And what kind of people they would generally be involved with. But these people, on the one hand, they want to make it seem like God's a supervillain. On the other hand, they got so-called Christians acting like it. Acting like those brainwashed masses in some Orwellian future flick. All the news media wanted to treat Cohen like he was their fucking golden child. Like, oh, Cohen's flipping, yay. Stormy Daniels, blah, blah, blah. It's getting a lot deeper for Cohen. Southern District of New York is recommending substantial prison term. But I think that was what they said. That's the quote. Cohen is the way to get to Felix Sater. Felix Sater is not an egg that's going to crack just from tapping it on the shelf. You got to get Felix Sater by the ball somehow. You know? You got to find him somewhere he wasn't supposed to be. Either he was out of the country when he said he was still here, or he was still here when he said he was out of the country. Which, as odd as that sounds, I think is actually what's going to happen. He had somebody, maybe somebody who looks almost just like him, like a double. It's not out of the question. He had somebody pretending to be him leave the country, have a fake suspicious meeting that led to nothing, just so he could secretly meet with the people he actually wanted to meet with. And I think Michael Cohen happens to know that he didn't leave the country at that point. Now that is just a pure intuitive glimpse. But it's based on two things: capabilities and the presumption that there's a way out of this mess. Got to be something Michael Cohen knows about Sater. They can get him to talk. Got to be something. And even if he doesn't talk, if you just make a list of the different trips to the different places, compare them to each other, compare how they were paid for, that kind of thing, you can probably guess and then tell Sater Cohen flipped anyways, just to get the reaction out of him. They, the FBI is pretty smart. They might have already done this. And that's why they're filing the further memos on Cohen. They tried to get him to cooperate and couldn't, perhaps. Cohen's a hell of a lot harder of an egg than he's been pretending to be. Okay? And that's part of what makes him so insidious, is that he's willing to, and he's been planning from the get-go to pretend like it, just to give people something to fucking talk about. This is meat. This is throwing out a steak for the guard dogs, you know? This is not hard strategy to come up with ahead of time. But the FBI was probably sitting there before I even said anything. They probably already had a list of every single registered travel incidents that Cohen and Sater and all these other people involved had, okay? So when looking at the list of Sater's different business trips and vacations, you know, they'd probably want to, like, just kind of categorize them. What are the ones that obviously look like they might be something suspicious? What are the ones that look like legitimate business? And what are the ones that look like nothing? Just vacation. Just a trip. There goes the fucking strike. And the camera froze for no reason, just as a third person joined. Anyways, as I was saying, what you would do is first compare the different business trips to each other, the ones that seem suspicious, the ones that don't seem suspicious, and look for discrepancies between them. Then you would meticulously itemize the vacations, because vacations are times that you intend to do nothing, you know? So the first point in strategy would be to do the shady things, saying you're on vacation. But then the second point in strategy would be to realize that's exactly where investigators would come and look later. So the smarter way would be just to have some extra little stop during other business engagements. However, due to the nature of the particular activities we're talking about, this ain't exactly picking up Tylenol on the way to the fucking restaurant, you know? This ain't dropping money to a fucking bookies while you're on the way to a whorehouse. This is helping Muhammad Atta get in a flight school in Florida. This is selling condos to Saudis. This is somebody's cousin's sister's guy she's fucking. You know, like this is... it's gonna be twice removed and shit. It's gonna be very well done. But I can see somebody like Felix Sater associated with the Trump organization setting up Saudis with flight lessons in Florida a lot sooner than I can see some random motherfucker in the mountains in fucking Pakistan or Afghanistan coming up with that plan. What is he sitting there on Google? Oh, look, here is a good flight college in Florida. Well, we'll send you there. Then you got to go from Afghanistan and find a bunch of Saudis. Without any extra people knowing. Because the CIA is all over the fucking place out there. But when it comes to defending the homeland, we have a considerable vacancy rate. Got our own little housing crisis. So Felix Sater just happened to know all about Al-Qaeda in the 90s. And being a Trump guy, he'd known a lot about Florida. In fact, being a luxury condo salesman, probably had a few friends that were private pilots. Trump's got a jet, right? Isn't that a thing with rich people? They like their little private jets. Isn't that why those people generally get those licenses, is to help those rich people fly them private jets? So we got a connection in class and habit and hobby. We have a peer group established. But I don't remember the surface story of the investigation, because, you know, I got caught up with things like 2 Arab guys having the same name. What would you do for a printed copy of your favorite news publication? Stating Donald Trump was guilty of high treason against the United States because of his involvement in the 9/11 terrorist attacks. I would need 2 copies, because one would wind up getting extremely moist. I would not know what to do. I would at the very least just start licking it. Just it's the best thing ever. I might have to rub it on my balls. Maybe I'll hire Stormy Daniels and have her spank me with it. In fact, if I hit the lottery, I promise to do just that. But I think Trump going to jail for this shit's a hell of a lot more likely than me hitting the lottery. No, but if Trump does go to jail for this, and there's a Time magazine with Trump and the fucking Towers and Silverstein and Felix Sater all on there, the 3 of them, and Giuliani, and Bin Laden, just, you know, gotta throw him in there, and Muhammad Atta. Oh yeah, there you go. Trump, Giuliani, Felix Sater, Muhammad Atta, and Silverstein, and Bin Laden. On cover of Time magazine. I commit that if any such publication is printed, I'm going to purchase a copy. And I'm going to call Stormy Daniels' publicist and get a quote. And We're gonna make a GoFundMe. Because we're gonna get her to spank me with that fucking. I'm just gonna let y'all linger with that thought for a while. Hey, Mr. Conway, are you there? Remind me of what exact uh, field of study you're pursuing, because I'm going to be writing it down. Um, it's as interesting as it is relieving, actually. My business plan is going to be handwritten. Beautiful. Neville is a social engineer. So having a social engineer in Australia and an environmental scientist in Europe looks pretty good on a pitch. Looks pretty good on the company resume, you know? Let's see here. I've been itemizing every little step of the way. I got a new sketchbook for Christmas, so I'm doing like a formal proposal, kind of, only written in pencil because it's fucking top secret. And if he doesn't if he doesn't bite, we're just gonna go forward with the Easy Reefers normal, land buy to eventually going for coastal restoration grants and stuff like that. I have, let's see, starts with a 12-step plan, basically, 3 stages. The map with all the known acquisitions and the multiple access routes to multiple interstates that we have here, the reason why it is where it is, why it needs to be where it needs to be, and talk about available lumber. Oh my goodness. There's a paper mill just north of here, and let's just say the lumber trucks know the route. Anyways. And then I have a layout of the ideal facility location, which I haven't talked about yet, so I'm not going to talk about. But I've talked about several of the other possible locations. Any one of them will do. Just, this is probably the biggest and most expensive, so I'm going to aim high. And this will leave, let's see, with Easy Reefers, the construction company, my house and their house, still leaves 3 different locations that are either rentable or that we can set up additional offices on. So it's going to be this piece of land, if bought, would be divided into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 commercial and 2 residential lots. Yeah, pretty much. Anyways. Of course, Lacey. Sorry you didn't have a good Christmas. Feel free to tell more without being so vague. But feel free to have your privacy too. I can certainly imagine there might be a need for it. I had it close. I had it down as agricultural engineering. The name of the company is classified. Still. But you and Neville are both listed under that. And basically this investor guy is going to be your direct boss while I'm going to be the company's executive consultant. Actually, really, my neighbor would be the direct boss. He's going to be the CEO. Whereas Phil's going to probably be chairperson. Anyways. I tell you what, I have learned a lot about corporate structuring and shit. Like, it's one thing to try to plan out a profit model, but I'm starting to feel like I really have a firm grasp of this whole process now, and I'm able to do this secondary business plan. Like, I don't know, like all the different shit I've been working on in the past several months. I've been working incessantly doing like different just lists and sketches and like sort of not planning out, but just writing out every little step of every little thing, you know, just to kind of organize it and get it all where the fuck it needed to be priority-wise. So that I could figure out the actual structure and the actual process. And now that I have it down, it's just like page by page, we're gonna make a fucking pencil presentation. And it's looking pretty good so far. Leadership team is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Americans plus you and Neville plus Phil if he bites. And we have a modular building consultant. We have a floating platform consultant. and we have a collections attorney, because those are fucking handy. So this is, it's going to go forward either slowly with easy reefers or quickly if I can do it like I want to do it. But either way, some of these patents I can see maybe people developing in the next 3 years and beating me to it. Some of them not so much. Like this technology thing, it would take a very talented geek with all kinds of life experience and like just the general habit of thinking above his own pay grade, like all right, horticulture and environmental science. All right, so we've got 12 steps, 3 stages with some basic financial projections. Never getting, well, hold on. Never getting much more than $250,000 in debt before getting to the point where our revenue should be about $800,000 a year. And that's just the fucking beginning. That's not even like, oh, eventually we'll be making it. No, this is like a less than a year path to making $800,000 a year. Like all the stuff that I put on the Patreon has just been shot to shit. And, like I said, people should have more faith in me. Because if anybody wants to sign on at the 420 amount, obviously, Neville and Conway are excluded, and if James wants to get on here and tell me what the hell he wants to do, I'll give him a job. I'll figure something out for him to do. But if any of my other subscribers would like to jump on the bandwagon, if you want to be an investor, sign up at the 420 amount. If you want to pitch in, sign up at the $42 amount and send me your resume over Patreon. Because this shit's getting done, man. Like, once I wrote this plan out, it was just like, how do I fuck this up? I have other people involved at this point, and starting to get kind of excited about it. This is going to go ahead one way or the other, whether it has to happen piecemeal over 5 years or whether I get an investor and we can do it all and get started by the end of this year. And then next year make 800 grand. Because we're talking about a 28-day renovation process. Okay? Overlap that. Contracting demolitions. I say we can get 10 properties flipped in a year. It's only going to cost about $70,000 to turn these properties that are priced at $10,000, and my 70 grand includes that price. 70 grand. The value of those houses where we're going to be building before they flooded exceeded 150 grand. I could easily ask over $200,000 for one of these houses in these areas. I haven't decided whether I'm going to at first. Might start low. Because 10 houses, $150 minus 70. It's 80. 80 times 10 is 800. And 800 grand is almost $1 million. Like, here's how I'm going to do this, okay? I want to know what it's like to buy a brand new Acura NSX. But I have no desire to own an Acura NSX. So I'm going to find someone who really deserves an Acura NSX. I'm going to go buy it. And then drive it for a little while. And then give it to them. Find just like a really old, poor military retiree, somebody, you know. That's my idea of a good time right there. Or better yet, take them to fucking Europe. Just find somebody who just desperately fucking deserves it and wants nothing more. Take them around the lap in Nürburgring, pretend like I'm just taking them on a trip in my NSX. And I'm going to drive around Nürburgring a few times. And when I start to get worn out, be like, you know, I'm kind of getting tired of this car. Here, it's yours. Anyways, did I just accidentally leak out one of my visions for a publicity stunt? A publicity stunt. What is going on with my teeth now that I can't say publicity? Publicity. It wants to go wrong even when I get it right. It's still, I can feel it. It wants to go wrong. So anyways, this is what I'll be working when I eventually stop the live stream. Step by step. The map. The overhead layout. With 7 18-wheeler parking spots. And 1, 2. A private parking spot by the office for the investor and the CEO. Because he's going to be hands-on because he's a real estate guy. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 regular parking spots plus a 12th handicap spot plus a parallel parking spot for me. Like one place, kind of like I could have added a whole nother 2 spots, but then that would have taken it really close to the road and wouldn't have left enough room for like a garden or the drainage ditch that I think is going to be there. And I'd have to move everything further back, and I just make one of them little pull-in spots, like on a car sales lot, how they have those kind of like along the drive, so they could just pull a car to have shown off, you know? And whatever I'm restoring and selling at the time, I'll just put it right there. So it's going to be like Easy Reefers here, and then the construction place back here, because this is going to be more retail oriented and this is going to be more business to business oriented. And then off in the distance over here is going to be another rentable or possibly location, business location we can set up. And then here on the corner is one of the other rentable businesses, and then back here where you can't really see it from the main street is another rentable business, which could be a good private office for us, could be a good little small 4-plex apartment complex. Etc. But anyways, I certainly am good at planning on how to make money. No wonder fucking asshole guy out there wanted me to plan out all of his money for him. So then we have stages, map, overhead view, leadership. We have USA, Europe, and Australia. I just think that's impressive as far as pitches go, that I'm already planning fucking international expansion. Already got people on the ground. It's like at this point, trust is not a factor. This is just about too much money for trust to even be a factor anymore. It's like, what am I worried about these guys stealing from me? They're never gonna have so much money in their fucking lives. Like, like here, I'm gonna send you this money so you can make more money. I'm pretty sure you're gonna spend it on what I tell you to, you know? Don't make me have to actually come there, damn it. I don't want it. fucking traveling. It's for the Boyds. Literally. Because they're good at it, because they can fly. That really wasn't funny, but I found it really, really funny. I'm like sitting there, about to fucking start grabbing a pencil and getting back to work. No, no, no. Making a video. Making a video. Alright, so now what I'm working on is nothing, because the kitten just crawled up in my lap. Just as soon as I said, now what I'm working on is did. And he's on the thing here. Okay. Okay. Just gonna liberate this right quick. Just gonna anyways. Whatever. So what I'm doing here is my anal objectives. I mean my annual objectives. You know, for a long time, speaking of sick fucking comments, for a long time I had my own personal bar as to what was, like, too far. Set far too low. Then one day there was this guy working in the produce department. I had worked with him at multiple grocery stores. And this was right after Katrina. Right after the Hurricane Katrina. He was working in this produce department at this place that I had started working at as soon as I got back. And there was this scantily clad little slut walking through there. And it's kind of like a thing to pass the time where you're like, you see that? Oh, you know, right? So he looks at me and I'm like, and he says, I'd eat the corn out of her father's shit. That's the moment I realized I had no idea how to make a sick comment. I thought I knew how. I thought I could think out of the box. But there was a whole different level that I could never achieve. Even if I tried. Oh, man. So from that point on, just kind of letting myself go a little bit as far as humor went. Corn out of her father's shit. That's not just something. That's something else. What'd you think, Conway? Is that about the silliest fucking thing you ever heard? Wonder how many orbs I can get to flash by blowing smoke across the screen. Did you see that one that was up here just now? Oh, you missed it? Oh, damn. Probably the funniest fucking thing ever. Did you hear the intro about, like, I'd set... No, I'll grab the pencil again. I set the bar too high for myself earlier in life about as, like, where the line was. How far can you go with comedy? Like, how sick of a fucking thing can you make up without somebody actually taking you seriously? You know, like, just like, how much can you make somebody just cringe and shudder? You know? I thought the bar was, like, down here, and like, then after Katrina, I was working at this grocery store, and this guy I'd known from a previous grocery store that I worked at, the one that I grew up working at, we had just seen this hot little slut walking fucking just with barely any clothes on. And we both look at her and look at each other, right? And he goes, I'd eat the corn out of her father's shit. I just told the damn joke. I still can't even. Special boy. Anyways. So I hope you got it that time, because I'm not repeating it again. Apparently Conway was busy having his own issues with corn. Or a potential grizzly. I want to make a self-defense training college and call it Grizzly Potential. And all the new recruits will be called Potential Grizzlies. And one day they'll get their grizzly bear certificate. And we'll stand and salute each other. You're a real grizzly bear. Hey, boo boo. Don't forget to grab your shotgun in case of a potential grizzly.
Hey, boo boo. I mean, hey, fuck. Oh, hey, Yogi. Hey, Yogi, I don't know who the fuck I am. Hey, Yogi. I think we are grizzlies.
That's right. But we don't have much potential. That was just the kind of corny joke that fucking Yogi Bear would make, wasn't it? I was damn near channeling fucking Hanna-Barbera or whatever that chick's name is. As I sit here in my smocking jacket. Hey, boo boo. I'm starting to feel kind of loaded. Was that a hippie we just ate? Ooh. Yoo-hoo. I haven't seen Yogi Bear or heard the voices of Yogi Bear and Boo Boo Bear since I was 9. Like, so if my impressions are horrible, I apologize. I could just be sounding nothing like them right now. I think I've heard my dad's impressions more recently. Or maybe a couple random comedians. My dad has fucking Disney voices. My dad can do Donald Duck like fucking studio quality. You got Mickey Mouse and Goofy too. And he could do Yogi and Boo Boo. And he could do Scooby and Scrappy. Not as good at Scooby and Scrappy as Yogi and Boo Boo though. He had the Yogi and Boo Boo. But then, you know, I'm still picturing him, as far as I know, for most of the vocal patterns. So I'm like making a copy of a copy. So for all I know, it could be horrible. Hey, boo boo, why don't you shut the fuck up?
Okay, Yogi. Pass that shit.
Now that was horrible. That was. Apparently, Boo Boo Bear sounds different when he's stoned. Or when he's jonesing. Okay, so what I told Neville to start keeping an eye out for And what I want you to keep an eye out for are starting with country areas that have good school districts. Okay? And go by order of flood proneness. Okay? So basically, follow the rivers around. You know? On the map. In one window. Have another window open up. Search that town school district, or have a list and look them up on a school district rating. Okay? And I hope Neville manages to see this, but maybe you can discuss this if it works, if it seems to be a fruitful method of finding the kind of opportunities I'm looking for. Because what we're looking for is something around, you know, one in Ireland, one in Australia to get started. An area with the potential to become a higher per capita income area that has available real estate due to recent floods. Okay? Because, you know, any place that's flood prone has had floods recently, you know? And of those flood prone areas, we want a good school district and high accessibility. Okay? I have the entire regional facility and the personnel, the initial personnel staffing, all mapped out, all planned out. And I have a further stage down locals facility and a scaled down model of the regional facility. And depending on the area, we're going to have exactly the investment, the building, the capability to fit the demand that we're going to project. But the idea is to set up one of these local or regional facilities in this area that you guys scout for us. Okay. Now, my CEO is going to be down there, and he's going to be the one setting it up. And Phil probably just make a trip because he likes to travel. And the other people involved that he kind of represents, they may or may not go as well. Okay? So there's going to be a little envoy of people come out there and purchase the land in the company's name and kind of just set y'all up as the facility managers or the primary consultant. If you find somebody with management, construction management, somebody who's been a carpenter for 20 years, but they've got a really fucking sharp business mind, you know, and they're good with people. And just on a spiritual note, it'll be somebody you've had a good influence on. Okay? By now. If the paths are converging the way I think they are. Just keep that in mind. It'll be somebody you have a good influence on, and you see, like, you get a feeling that they're starting to come around. Maybe you haven't talked to them about it yet, but you just got a feeling they're starting to come around. And as you talk business with them, you're going to see it more and more. Okay? The same thing's true for Neville. Okay? These facilities are designed to have an 8 to 32, 8, 16, or 32 man crew, basically. Okay. Inside. Alternating work, and then eventually working simultaneously with, at first, a deployment group that we're going to hire, and a landscaping contractor that we're going to work with, or we're going to hire all three. You know, all the above, excuse me. Both. That's the word, yeah. Is it smuck? Smuck, yeah, smuck. So we're going to have 2 different shifts on site. One's going to be preparing the land and then doing the landscaping and shit, and then one's going to be doing the actual setup of the building, right? And then, you know, that's why you probably want to use a landscaping contractor at first until you can keep that crew busy enough, most likely with a second construction crew. But then you can kind of overlap laborers if you want to, if you can find the right people, you know. But we need to find somebody with construction experience, extensive, you know, on the fucking job, building a whole damn house, repairing all kinds of shit. That kind of person. And then from there, start looking for carpenters. And until you guys get a team that can deploy or resell homes, you know, do acquisitions in that area, you're going to be training these people and like certifying them or verifying their skills, basically, by making flood-proof sheds and greenhouses and garages and you know, small stuff that's built in-house. Gonna have a few displayed on the outside, and then just be like building to order, having the generic sections pre-manufactured, right, so that they can go up in multiple configurations as they're ordered. And then if no sales come, that's when you just go ahead and flip a house. Use those sections, keep the people working. Right. Pretty damn good plan, isn't it? Plans, it's like I'm good at those. We'll see. Don't knock on wood. I'm not there anymore. Knock on wood. Ow. Stop it. Alright. kidding off my crotch. Oh, no, he's so cute and comfortable looking, I can't move him. Oh, man. Like, but I know you got new underwear for Christmas, so I got to keep your balls extra warm. You know. Gotta ruin them outright. Well. It's going to be more about just knowing them, you know. The first team is going to have to be underpaid in the beginning. They're going to have to believe in what we're doing. Then they're going to get paid really fucking nicely. But the idea is to cause exponential growth by reducing overhead in the initial stages. But on the other hand, the guys who get paid like laborers in the beginning are going to spend half the month working indoors. You know what I mean? But I'm going to want to put them on a small base salary. So we're not, you know, nitpicking about fucking paying out labor hours and shit. And I want people that we can trust to actually be there, even though we're not nitpicking about labor hours. Because, you know, there's some guys who will only show up to make the fucking labor hours, right? And there's some guys who, if you pay them salary, they'll dick around and milk the clock. I don't want either of those guys. I want company guys. You know? Company guys. Guys who believe that when they go and work for a small business, if they work hard, the business is going to succeed, and the fucking manager is not going to be a dick about it and going to give them their cut. Because everybody's going to get their cut in this. That's one of the things that I'm going to consistently make sure that I stay in charge of at every single board meeting. And I'm the one who's going to plan out the board and who makes the fucking meetings happen, so. So from there, we're probably going to be looking at having the local facility, like a mid-scale facility in Ireland. And then probably moving into the Netherlands, Germany, somewhere like that. Maybe Denmark. With the bigger regional facility. So you'll have maybe 21 to 30 people in Ireland, and then 50 to 70 people in Central Europe. And that's just the expansion phase. Okay. By basically flipping real estate at this Henry Ford type scale, or with this Henry Ford level of efficiency. Oh, you'll eventually, get the hang of what we're doing, and you'll be in charge of that. I mean, I'm only recommending and not even really knowing where in Central Europe at this point, which is why you're going to be in charge of that. Yeah, that's true. And there's a lot of stone available too. But anyways, from there we go on to the various charities after a reincorporation period. This infrastructure, and even like prototype boats that we're going to build. Okay? Like, I mean, I'm sitting there putting together a design based on what this facility can put out, right? And realizing I can just make this float, and that can be it can be a boat. And then I drew another one, and it was like, it kind of looked like an armored stealth yacht, like a little 2-cabin cruiser, just a little 2-cabin yacht. Then I said, okay, let me draw the smallest houseboat that I can purposely design without the whole lifeboat, slanted sides, armored stealth looking feature kind of thing, okay? And I made this fucking cute little system that's kind of like a cross between a New Orleans party barge and a yacht. That again can be built from this facility. And then I said, what if I make that thing part of a 3-part catamaran yacht? And I just kind of carried the theme over and backwards, and then I realized with this big, wide, shallow displacement, I might as well just make it an airboat. So we might have the Guinness Book of World Records give us a little extra publicity for having the world's largest airboat. And in fact, I just see what the world's largest airboat is, and we can just beat it. Again, all from the same facility we're making these buildings out of. It's just a little extra sanding, basically. A little extra fiberglass, a little extra sanding, and you got a boat. What it comes down to is basically any barge-like boat that you can think of, made of simple-ish materials, okay? And just draw it out in 8x8 sections. As long as it's in 8-foot cubes, basically, we'll be able to build it. And I of course have a design for composite beams that's gonna take care of all of our length issues. Apparently, we have no problem with girth, but we. but, but when it comes to length, we've got some issues. So yes, composite beams. Got to make sure our wood gets as long as it needs to. All right, kitten, can I have my legs back, please? No. No. Okay. I'm going to very gently and delicately set you over here, and then you're gonna jump up like I committed some kind of heinous crime. And there he goes. Those were both the sounds of realizing how little coffee there was. Here's the coffee cup I got from my wife. That's gold. Saints colors, basically. Oh. See, anybody who thinks I have some sort of control freak type personality or anything like that, I don't like football. I don't like how obsessed people are with football. I don't like how obsessed my wife is with football. I don't like people being fans of a city's really like oh, my team is better than your team. I just don't. I think it's horrible. Like, it's not even just that it annoys me. I see like the societal implications and shit. It drives me nuts. But my wife likes the fucking Saints. I've discussed my opinion with her. But I still buy her Saints shit. Still fucking, it's okay. It's like, I mean, really, it's not okay, but it's okay. I don't fucking. If she comes to me and says she doesn't like the Saints shit anymore. Right, sports. I'm not decondoning sports. I just don't like how obsessed with this particular sports our, supposedly propagandized warlike culture has gone. But I was just, you know what I mean, though? Like, I'm just using an example, like, even though I'm not one of them sports fan people, you'd never see me putting Saints logo shit on my car. If I was a control freak, I wouldn't let my wife do that either. You know what I mean? And I buy her Saints shit. Like, I'm encouraging behavior that I disagree with just because it makes her happy. Dingo. Now that, however, no, you're not allowed to do that, Dingo. So, anyways, give preference to people with military and or technology backgrounds when considering your pool of future hirees. Okay. And when it comes to the guys who are both, okay, both technology and military backgrounds, let them know that there will be other things that they may be involved in that are even more lucrative and more helpful and more interesting, but that they will likely have to work there for a while first and then take a trip to Louisiana. Say no more. For the same reason that all this shit's going down in pencil. Well, let's just say we're going to focus on, at first, things that Russia should have no reason to want to stop us from doing. And we'll just see if they feel like playing this in a sporting way. Let's race to see who. See if I can pull everything off one thing at a time before they take over and it just doesn't fucking mean anything. But you see, an additional reason for going about it this way is if disaster strikes, I'm giving people a better chance of surviving. Because when it comes down to it, that's what these buildings are designed around, is survival. Dingo. Dingo! Cut it out. Fuck you too. Unreal dog. Yeah, you're an unreal dog, huh? I know. Dingo. To you too. I was about to start talking to you about my plan to give all the employees health insurance. But I don't think that really matters, because you live in Europe. Like, The the goal of the corporate structure as it changes. No, no. Kitten. Oh, dental. Oh, there you go. Even it was set up in fucking London just so I can make the joke. Had to set up in London, so yeah. Had to give my employees free dental care. But oh, how cliche. Oh, how cliche. How can I resist being that cliche? Yeah. Fuck, I'm distracted. But anyways, 5 or so different businesses, all with probably a couple of hundred to 1,000 employees each, nationally anyways, or per region, right? It's only funny because it's actually true, yeah. But by having a parent corporation, if I'm not mistaken, basically all these different people can be in one big collective insurance buy type thing, you know? One employer healthcare umbrella. So yeah, we're gonna do everything. We're gonna give full everything to our employees. And we're going to volunteer to basically stick to the higher level insurance plans for our employees. Okay. As a corporate model. Because over time, we're going to make it harder for them to make money off of flood insurance and shit like that. So I figure the least we can do is encourage premium health insurance and shit like that. Health, accidental injury, life insurance. I figure, well, no. I figure we might wind up employing as a conglomerate 20 to 50,000 people. If I'm talking about making all those people get insurance, or helping all those people get insurance, basically like it's in your terms of employment, like we want you to have this, like we don't allow our company's image to be tarnished by employees' families not having good lives, okay? Like, from the moment you pass scrutiny with us, your retirement is fucking basically secured. You know, like we're going to be a company who makes it our business to show other companies how to do business. Okay? And in that, I think we get the leverage to say, you know, we're going to have all these different ways we're going to be paying you, and we're going to be paying your premium rates until you fucking lower them. But you're going to have to start cutting people's insurance rates down on this because it doesn't apply. Sorry. In fact, I'll make specific deals with them. Here's what's going to break. Here's what's going to be damaged. You go and insure this, this, and this for your flood insurance policy. And you can come cover all of our fucking people. We'll sell it with the houses. That's a good idea. I wish I would have thought of that. Good idea, Conway. Why didn't I think of that? So yeah, if we can package a private flood insurance that'll cover the specific damage that happens as a result of the release process, you know. Apparently whoever came in didn't like the Baby Shark. Yeah. Oh, I don't have the Baby Shark yet. All right. There we go. Baby Shark. Baby Shark. Baby Shark. Baby Shark. Hurt my neck. Oh. Okay. I think at this point I'm just starting to obsessively talk about the business because I want to get it done. That and like when I think about like the difference between needs and wants, I want a small recording studio. I'm probably going to set up one that's dual use, you know, for production reasons, but also that I can use for my personal shit. But I need a solid door frame that I can put a little workout thing on so I can exercise. I need that. I've gotten so out of shape in the shoulders. Just because there isn't one fucking solid door in this house. I don't know if I explained this or if you remember. I have a little thing that hooks over the top and bottom of the door. Okay, a little metal bracket like that, right? And it's got pulleys on it, on the top and the bottom, and the elastic connects between the two of them, and it resists. And you pull, and you go like that, and like, you know, however you want. You can go like that if you want to, and it's adjustable, and it's great. It's got multiple different bands, so you can adjust the strength level for different exercises. Fucker was like $22. It has almost every exercise there is, and like flexibility training, and wow. Haven't used it since I moved here. I need to get that damn exercise bike over here. My legs are getting stiff. And every time I think about the exercise bike and I need to remember that I need to do it, and I'm like, oh yeah, now'd be a good time to use the exercise bike. There's the kitten. Or when I'm about to get up because I have to pee. Mr. Sandman. Yes. Give me a dream. Give me No. No. I shouldn't say that. Far too random of a thought. Occasionally, you get a weird feeling about a song. The Sandman, one of those songs. Two things about that song that I think are the reason for the weird feeling. Not just because, and this would be the, I guess, the skeptical argument to what I'm about to say. Not just because when you're young and you first hear the Sandman song, you associate it with dreams, okay? Because from there it may have some sort of a nostalgic effect. There's something more to it than that. And that actually amplifies that process and that experience for everyone. It's one of them things that everybody goes through that nobody talks about. Because it's kind of weird. You might talking about it to a girl you're dating at the time. That's about it, you know? The Sandman and that harmonic motif is what most YouTubers would call Lantian, or what I call Magdalenian. But apparently the Magi are the same as the Magog to them, or I don't know. I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. When your philosophy boils down to a Britney Spears quote, you might have something. That's all I'm saying. Not just something else. So anyways, we'll have a few independent operations in those countries. Um, the obviously the ecological land-based type stuff is going to be in the European branch, as well as the disease mitigation, because Europe is where you need to focus if you want to stop spreads of diseases internationally. And then the tech division or subsidiary or whatever, probably going to be in Australia. It's going to be another one of the backbones of the partnership between Louisiana and Australia. I don't know why Australia would sneer at the idea of partnering up with Louisiana. Our economy's about the same. There are states in America, many, many states, with much larger GDPs than most countries. And between our oil output and the Port of New Orleans, Louisiana's GDP and its, what you call it, average income are they're pretty disparities. But partnering up with Australia would allow us to raise both. Anyways. If I do go into politics, it'll be further down the line. It'll be based on that approach right there. Let's partner up entire states with allies. 50 states, 50 allies. You know what I mean? How cool would that be? What state do you want to claim for Ireland? Don't be all ballsy and claim Texas though. I think we're gonna have to ally Texas and Germany just for the fucking fear that instills. Yeah, like which state would be best allied with Ireland? I'm talking about an economic and communicative sort of alliance where people from that state in America have an easier time going there for work. People from that country have an easier time going to that state for work. Businesses have not only tax incentives, but have meetings. Okay, this is all about just meetings and communicating and cooperating on what needs to be done, and having this state offer what it can to that country, and that country offer what it can to that state. You know what I'm saying? And they can be educational personnel, resources, businesses. They could have similar businesses. They could have complementary businesses. You know what I'm saying? And it should not be left up to any sort of raffle. It should be done with a Vulcan level of logic and precision. I'm pretty sure Russia already does things this way. Ireland and Rhode Island. That would make sense just because of the size. Tiny little country with a tiny little state. Oh. We can make tiny little money together. No. Based on economic status and potential, I'd say Rhode Island with Iceland. Let's see, Ireland. North, North and South Dakota for North and South Ireland. That's another thing you might consider too. A country with a large population and limited land should partner up with a state that has a low population and a lot of land. And if they got, moist land there, again, dry land here, moist land there, like. Set things up on the basic principles of balance, and the opportunities will probably just naturally occur. Maine. New England makes a lot of sense. Maine and New England make a lot of sense. Rhode Island should be teamed up with a country that has a small population and a lot of land. Somewhere it almost never rains. Like, yeah, you got to think in terms of like where people would want to migrate to. Because having those population exchanges, and also having exchanges with former diasporas. What are the macro political ramifications of that? How cool would that be? How dangerous would that be? What are the possibilities there? Ireland teams up with New England. There's a fuck ton of Irish people there, right? Bunch of Irish people from there move back. Bunch of Irish people from Ireland move here. Germany and Texas. You're not going to have a bunch of German nationalists moving to Texas. You're going to have nice people from Germany moving to Texas. And you'll have Texans who are mostly of German and Russian and Dutch descent. Proto-Russian. Moving back to Germany. So you'd have whiter looking Germans from America going to Germany. And then you'd have more Arabic looking working class Germans these days. So darker skinned, slightly darker skinned, a lot of them. German speakers in Texas. The Mexicans wouldn't know what the hell to do with them. But the people in Texas would realize how annoyingly nice most Germans are, the ones that aren't neo-Nazis, you know. And they are. They're very well-mannered, pleasant fucking people for the most part. And then Germany would have Germans living there again. But they wouldn't be assholes. Because they'd be Americanized. And again, the nationalists would stay home on their farm so they could fuck their cousins, you know. Like. So we'd have the more liberal people, the ones that usually migrate, okay? So positive influence politically, while sort of satisfying the people that you want to shut the fuck up. Because, I mean, I agree. Not because, like, for instance, okay. Let's be historically real about this shit, in fact. I don't even need to be hypothetically. If Hitler never rose to power, what was happening in Germany was black people from islands all over the German Empire were being allowed citizenry in Germany proper, okay? And were being allowed to be in the Congress, okay? If you play that out, you have a natural, eventual mixture. You have a Creoling of Germany, okay? There's absolutely nothing the fuck wrong with that, okay? And if it happened with any other culture besides black people, okay? And I say black people because I don't agree with the fact that they're from Africa. I call them Maurians. Let's go just call them Maurians. So Maurians, black people. See, nobody knows the fuck Maurian, so I have to say black people. Anyways. How am I doing on cigarettes? Good enough. Right. Germany was making serious strides in politics and everything else, and this, like, you know, kind of like with the backlash to Obama that we have now, this artificial backlash, artificially enhanced backlash called Nazism rose in Germany. There should have been no problem with them mixing with Jews. The Jews never attacked Europe. And similarly, there was no problem with most people with Jews, because most Germans at least had a friend or a cousin or somebody who was dating a Jew, because like damn near half of Germany was Jewish. Like, this fucking whole thing seems really weird to me, because German and Jew is almost interchangeable to me as far as like greater history goes. Anyways, fucking weird. Seems to be more of a tribal political separation that caused the Holocaust. And, but anyways, Germany mixing with Jews, perfectly fine. Germany mixing with blacks, perfectly fine. Asians, Indians, whoever. Anybody who never tried to invade. You see? Yeah, the whole pattern of anti-Semitism has never really changed. And it's the same pattern of communism, you know? It's class warfare. But not by governance, by propagandization and populism. That's the thing, populism. It's mixing nationalism with populism and calling it socialism. Then you have National Socialism. I tell you, like, if there's any one gift that I'm being used for, you know, if I'm just being used, it's for my ability to recognize patterns. It's like, oh, pattern, pattern, pattern. Me and my wife have a joke about it, too, with the whole, if you've ever seen Tales from a Parallel Universe, Spattered of Pattern. Pattern is the name of this drug that this whole planet is addicted to. And they'll say, I just want to smatter a pattern. But there was a weird moment in this all-gifted little elementary school that you had to test into in this really nice neighborhood in Houston. And I'm not going to say the name of the school because I think it's one of my banking questions or something like that. There used to be. I don't know. I think my wife changed them all. Yeah, she did. Anyways, it's still pretty detailed private information, so I'm not going to say the name of the school, but it was a little magnet school, okay? And I'll probably tell other stories about what happened at this school because I got some pretty vivid, fun little memories from this school. Including further verification that Kira was a real memory. Started causing me problems with other women at an early age. With a girl named Carrie. Anyways. But in this fucking kindergarten, okay, it was a test in kindergarten. Oh yeah, you had to be hot shit just to be there. They had what essentially were the kind of slides that get used in an IQ test, whether you notice the pattern of progression of different things. And it'll be like a more subtle pattern in the picture. And I wound up just like fascinating the teacher because I was recognizing crap that she couldn't recognize. And the whole class had long since gone silent. And I'm just sitting there pointing out. And then she goes to the next little set of, like, they were like index cards about yay big. And she'd set them up on the little thing in the bottom of the chalkboard. What's the pattern here? I just kept going with it until she ran out of cards. And like from that moment on, I was like, okay, so that's my little special talent. Like everybody has their moment in these old GT classes where they kind of outshine everybody else. And I wasn't good at the math flashcards, and certainly there were much better artists than me and everything else. I didn't like doing a lot of things as much as a lot of the kids seemed to like it doing it. But I liked working in groups and coordinating effort. And then I learned that one day I was really good at recognizing patterns. That's what I learned in kindergarten. That and when cute black girls draw, they usually hold their tongue like so. First time I ever flirted with a black girl in kindergarten. Yes, I was a little flirt from a fucking young age. Like I said, I had a girlfriend in kindergarten, for fuck's sake. Her name was Carrie. And I even remember having eyes for this other girl named Jessica. And she wound up transferring to the other school that I went to later in 3rd grade. And I was like, woohoo. Never made a move, though. But I was a little something else, man. I was a hopeless romantic. I wasn't trying to be a player. It just came naturally. I don't know. What was I talking about? My bad habits. No. I don't fucking know. Patterns. Smatter a pattern. Yeah. Smatter a pattern. Like I was observationally aware of why I was with those other kids who were, in many ways, it seems, smarter than me, were quicker than me at things, you know. You want to talk about competitive kindergarten, man? Go look at Houston gifted shit. Houston takes their gifted and talented stuff very, very seriously. They take their high IQ programs very, very seriously. And they apparently catch them really early. My dad went to the same school. And we were doing, long division in 1st grade. And fucking doing multiple number. Oh God, I got lost in 3rd grade with the It still annoys me to this day. Can I just use a calculator? Interesting. You might want to try to describe the little project that you're not allowed to know much about. Because if she's into programming or electrical engineering, I'm going to need some people that can write algorithms. Because what we're going to try to do is basically, and she might wind up herself the fucking CEO of the company, and you can tell her that, because at this point we have nobody. Nobody worthy of filling that particular position on the subsidiary level. I know I've got the ability to do all the base designs, but I need someone who can really coordinate the actual team that continues, because I'm going to have my fucking hands full. But you can just tell her I've been instructed to, or something like that. But the whole point of the company is to bring back modularity and upgradability to technology, to find ways to stop the whole quick print disposable electronics process. Okay? See if that's something that she's always dreamed about. Okay? It might be like her pet peeve too. If she's a mathematician who's in that shit, pretty high likelihood. And like I said, if shit's gonna converge, it's gonna converge, man. And nobody gonna stop it. And and if she's cute, good luck. I think having some husband and wife public facing industry captains would be a nice objective on the conglomerate level, because of the societal influence. Success is not all hookers and blow, Success is being able to manage your life and become productive to where you have time to find the right person. as well as trusting in God that you'll encounter that right person, no matter what the odds seem like. And I think my story is truth enough of that. And now as I consider whether to correct myself, I'm like, oh, proof and truth are kind of synonymous. Anyways, I think I was in the middle of a point and I got completely sidetracked. If Germany converted to Islam because some missionaries came and the people there said, oh man, this is great, let's all become Muslims, it'd be fine. But when you have, after 1,000-year siege, okay, that ended only 500 years ago, continual migration from the same people who were trying to invade, no. Sorry. It's bullshit and it's bad for you. Bring me some fucking people from Haiti. Bring me some Chinese, Mexican Eskimos. I don't fucking care. Just don't bring me whoever it was that was invading me. That doesn't make me a nationalist. That makes me not a moron. There's a difference. And like I said, if in all of that land they can't find some kind of river to divert to make a habitable place for themselves, they should come to America. But America, and this is, you know, let's just sum up the whole first season of The Lost Begotten Lessons. America should be the kind of place that is so culturally proficient, that has such success in educating our children, that has such success in solving debates politically and staying unified as a country, that when people come here, even en masse, they immediately become no threat to us by their absolute awe of our culture. Just like, really, like, this is basically paradise for those who don't deny God's plan, the plan of life. That's what this place should be. Place could be. It's almost like a metaphor of what Earth should be in the ultimate future, the little communal ground where people get reincarnated. I'd really like to get to the point where it's like people are living longer and we got like warp drive and shit, like nobody knows the boogers I pick because I do it off camera. Anyways. Yeah, that required far too much focus. This just happens to be the most tiny, stubborn booger ever. Kitten don't give a shit. Kitten has not budged an inch. Anyway, what time is it? What time is it? Holy fuck. It's almost 5 a.m. I had no idea. But, need more coffee. I'm not gonna do that. She might actually wake up right now. So what you want to talk about, Conway? What would you like me to elaborate further upon? She wants to do bioscience. Very interesting. Well, that's no reason not to approach her with the general concept. Because look at it this way. I've thought of this plenty of times before and thought there was nothing that could be done about it. You know? And, I already have this mapped out as eventually going towards prosthetics and cybernetics. So if the idea of integrating biotech with cybertech appeals to her, that is the eventual plan. So interest not wasted for sure. And there is a considerable need for medical consulting and medical technology development as well. So, medical tech, cybernetics, and you might want to just write down military prosthesis as the other two apply to them. I have a very forward-thinking mind. And I can plan things out stage by stage on how to develop and how to set up the businesses that can do, you know. Math person that's in environmental science but wants to do biochemistry. Okay. I mean, that's just an interesting person to me. And you say she's top notch. But yeah, we're gonna start out by offering products that solve the problem of disposability. And hopefully solve the problem of flooded marketing by providing more jobs. And that is the way people personalize their cell phones. We're going to kind of set up like a not actual mom and pop, but a advertised sort of mom and pop like cottage industry based approach to this. That's going to make cell phones produced more like cars, you know, in your local area as opposed to condensed to a particular place. And, you know, I was just stopping myself from giving away more details on that. You know, they got fucking custom cases and shit, but they're all made in China. Why not have, like, people paying a little more knowing that it's going to be a local product, you know? From start to finish local, you know, from start to fucking finish a local product. Anyways. Oy, oy, oy. What's that comment? Oh, I mean, just write down talking points, man. Just write yourself down some talking points, and just tell her, look, I was talking about a lot of different people because there's this guy who's trying to set up a pretty significant business venture. And you came up, and the word mathematician triggered him. And as I told him more about you, he basically wanted me to go over a couple things with you and see if you were interested in a possible future position. And by no means stop what you're doing right now, just how much does this excite you, okay? And like, my company model pays for success. I don't think you're gonna everybody's gonna have a comfortable little base pay, for sure. But it's gonna be the more you produce, the more you fucking make with these kind of with I mean, from everybody from my entry level employees all the way up to my CEOs. It's not gonna be any kind of stupid bonus packages and shit like that. It's basically gonna be commission. I like working for commission. I like everybody thinking of themselves either as a commission-based salesperson or a contractor performing a service. Your base salary is kind of what you get paid for your responsibilities. And then what you add to that, that's what you get quarterly so-called bonuses and payouts for. So, but I don't want to hear nothing from anybody calling themselves a CEO when I only want to pay them $70,000 a year. That's all I'm saying. You might be making $4 million a year in commission, and no, you ain't getting no damn sign-off bonus or nothing like that. You take care of your own retirement shit. We'll have a company investment program for people who want to do their retirement thing. But I'm not having those parachute, whatever they call it. No. And we're not doing giant salaries for executives. However, because my executives will be hired on their dreams that are bigger than themselves, they're going to have a lot of money to make those dreams come true. Know what I mean? All right, well. Anyways. Yeah, that initial $800,000 sounds like a lot until you start talking about paying insurance and lawyers and CEOs and paying off your investors and but I'm thinking we'll do a little better than 10 properties a year. And as that grows, we're going to have like 15 different fucking companies, man. Plus charities. We gotta and I've been trying to spend more time doing this lately, but I don't have social media, so I can't like review old friends and shit, and I'm way out here, so I don't, I just got my new friends, and most of them are already involved. But whoever's been involved with the channel a long time, especially if you've watched all of this video, appreciate it. if you want to get involved with this, and you don't feel like you have the particular experience or skills necessary, who do you know that's on the right level that even if they don't know about weird shit, still has that heart that makes them someone who can be trusted, you know? And if they got something to offer and they're at least open-minded enough to hear about the plan, feel them out and then let me know about them. And whoever's on Patreon can do so privately. Otherwise, just like send me information on here and then I'll delete it as soon as I can. Or on Facebook, if Facebook lets you communicate with me. My wife should get it. Should. But the whole reason for the Patreon thing is just to be able to send messages securely. Anyways. And of course, because otherwise I'm doing a whole lot of work for a whole lot of people to make a whole lot of money in the future, and I'm starving to fucking death while I'm doing it. I'm just trying to get my bills paid. The last sketchbook is full. What did that last, like 3 months? And then I had the one that I just filled up in like a week. And now I have a new sketchbook. Wonder how long this will take. Oh. Anyways, the lights are coming on in the fish tanks, so that means it's time for me to go. Thanks for hanging out, Conway. And I don't know if there's some point of this other than smoking time. So, thanks for watching, SA. Make sure to click like and subscribe, Holmes. Hey, man, is it time to end the broadcast? Peace.